Bulgarian-American University in Bulgaria.
First of all, I'm going to let these guys ask questions, but the first thing I want to know is why did you decide to make this film? Like, how are you connected, or what was it about this subject that drew you to make the film?
Well, I think it's just a great story, isn't it?
Yeah, but did you know the guy, or were you somehow
No,
or you know the family, or you just went and found the story and did it?
I learned about him in 2005, and this is how it all started. The whole thing, the movie, it started almost immediately. I started researching the project 2 months after his death. Unfortunately, I didn't have the chance to even speak to him. So
can you tell us a little bit, like, how long did it take you to shoot the whole movie? And also, can you tell us what did you use for the narration? Something like his journals, or you found some like archives that he took at home?
Did you guys all hear the question?
Yeah.
She wants to know about the narration and how.
okay, so the pre-production took us around about 5 years, and the principal photography was about 3 weeks, I think. So we started shooting in New York City in the end of 2010, and then we continued the next year in Nevada, Arizona, and California, where most of the film is shot.
So actually, his son.
But let me tell you about the narration. So the narration is based on some interviews that the biographer of Ed Wood made with Stephen Apostolof in the 80s. So I had I think between 30 and 40 hours of interviews with him. So basically those are excerpts from those interviews. So and we used a professional narrator, I mean a voiceover actor, and we recorded the whole narration for like 1 day. And when we ended, he said, "Okay, the job is done." I almost made him sound like Borat.
No, it was great.
Other questions from you guys? Go ahead, Mark.
I'm just curious, did you have to pay him something like to the guy that had the interviews of
You mean for the rights to use them?
Yeah.
Sure, yes.
Yeah?
But it wasn't that much. I mean, he based some parts of his book, his biography of Ed Wood. He based this biography on parts of those interviews, and later on, this director, Tim Burton, he made a film with Johnny Depp playing Ed Wood. It was based on the book of Rodolphe Gray, who was also in my film. Well, you can tell that just watching the film. I think they were quite cooperative, and we just started liking each other, Like I became part of their family, and they even started calling me the Bulgarian cousin. So. Well, it was, I suppose they didn't show it, but later on I learned that they were a little bit suspicious at the beginning, because I'm some guy from Bulgaria coming to them and asking them to make a film about their father. And I think it's something natural to be suspicious in such a case.
So, what is it that drew you to the story? I mean, what was it that when you said you found out about it and then like 2 months later you were shooting? What was it that made you do it?
Well, I think that Stephen Apostolov was a very charismatic character, first of all. And he was a father of 5 children. He was shooting sex movies in the 60s when this thing was something unusual. So I think he was quite interesting character, to say the least.
Yeah. She has a question.
Did you sponsor the movie? How did you sponsor it?
How did you get it paid for?
Did I get paid for it? Or?
No. How did you sponsor it? Like for the cameras?
Yeah, okay, I got it. So, first, when we started working on that documentary, we thought it would be easy to finance it because of the subject, you know. Everyone loves tits. Is that right? So, we thought that everyone will be interested, in the subject of sex, but it turns out that most of the televisions, they didn't want to pay money for such a film because they cannot export it. You know what I mean? Like in their prime time, they can't show such thing in their prime time. So. We were lucky because at that time, in 2006, I think, Arte, the French-German television, they just opened a new slot in their program called Pop Culture. And this was the first film produced especially for this slot by Arte. So the main part of the money came from Arte. We had German co-producers, and Martička Buzilova, the producer of the film, she invested some of her money in it.
You guys remember Martička from last year?
Yes.
Yeah.
What was the most difficult thing that you had to overcome while shooting? Well, except starting to shoot.
I tried to get in contact with some of the other actresses in those movies, and some of them, they didn't want to talk to me at all. Marsha Jordan from Lady Godiva, right? The actress on the horse. She's now maybe 82, 83 years old. She lives in California, in a small city there, and she's married to a rich man, and she don't want to just remember her past, you know. It's like something that she's not proud of at all. So, I don't know about any troubles. We had many troubles on our way, but finally, the movie's there. So.
What about the
Sorry, there was a question here.
What's the movie, or is it going to be shown in the US?
Say again?
In the US? Are you going to show it in the US, or?
We're thinking about it. Actually, it was shown in several theaters in San Francisco, in Kansas, but we're thinking about a premiere in Los Angeles. There are some cinemas called revival cinemas, and they show such type of films, documentaries, foreign films, like cult movies. So we are thinking about a real premiere there in Los Angeles, because after all, this was the city where Stephen Apostolov lived almost his life.
Can you talk about how you got the HBO broadcast?
Yeah, but this just came recently, in the last few months. Actually, HBO, they produced my other film, my first film, and we had some relationship with them, and they just bought it, and they will start showing it this month in, I think, 12 or 13 countries in Central and Eastern Europe. And the film is going to be on the Finnish Finnish public television called Yle, you know. So Where else? That's it. I mean.
I don't think most people here know anything about you because we didn't get a chance to introduce you properly. But maybe you could explain a little bit about your first film and how that led you to your second film.
Okay. So my background is in journalism. I've been doing that for 14 years now. So I kind of developed a taste towards documentary filmmaking in those years, and I did a film for HBO, which was the first original program, Bulgarian program produced by HBO. So I made a film called Concrete Pharaohs. You might have seen it. It is about the wealthiest part of the gypsy population in Bulgaria, the so-called Kaldrash Roma. They built houses which are like huge castles and tombs under the ground, which are like small apartments with flat TV screens, with stereos, with whiskey and all kind of liquors, you know. So they like prepare for the other life, for the afterlife. So this was my first film, and I made it while I was working on that one, that made 30 movies. So
the film is going to be broadcasted on what national TVs in other countries. What about broadcasting here in Bulgaria? Because you know Nina Todorov, the girl that participates in this series about Diaries, there was so much noise around her just because she's a Bulgarian in Hollywood. Why I haven't heard of the main hero? I mean, why isn't television paying attention?
Actually, it's going to be shown on HBO Bulgaria this month, at the end of this month. So if you'd like to stay updated on the news around this documentary, you can like the Facebook page, and you will receive updates regularly. So they just bought it and they will show it in Bulgaria finally. So many people will have the chance to see it finally. Actually, this was for a festival just 3 days ago. I came back from South Korea. It's a very interesting festival because it's called DMZ Festival, and it is held in the zone between the two Koreas, between South and North Korea, and this is the most heavily guarded border on the earth because of the conflict, you know, between the two Koreas. So they made a festival there. Could you imagine that? Actually, it's a very nice festival. I mean, the audience is very intelligent and they are really interested in all kinds of documentaries.
How was the documentary received there?
I cannot compare the reaction here to their reaction. I mean, it was totally different. They were like more quiet. They just laughed 1 or 2 times during the whole movie, which was a surprise for me because I thought that this kind of humor is universal, you know. Like, but I'm not right, obviously. Well, not really, because the distribution, the theatrical distribution of documentaries in Bulgaria is a little bit complicated. So I prefer television. I mean, that way many people will have the chance to see it.
And also, it's when you put it in theaters, it's more complicated with money and advertising, whereas
exactly.
TV is more.
Exactly.
Any advice for? Oh, go ahead.
this half a decade adventure for you with filming, with meeting new people, how did it change you? Or did it change you?
I don't know, maybe we'll see, I can't tell that now.
Can you see the difference between yourself now and then?
No, except for the fact that I made two films in the last 6-7 years. That's it. But I'm still hooked on that subject, on that story. So.
And so it did change you because you can't let it get out of your system,
Yeah, I think so. But I cannot tell how.
We have more questions up there. We'll come back. Go ahead. And there were 2 questions, right? There.
Sure. Can't you say that? I mean, just looking at them.
What do you think?
Why?
I don't know why is the cinema called the seventh art? Because it's art. I don't know. I'm joking. I'm just joking. I don't know. But they are very interesting. I mean, they're like time capsules of that era. Yeah, it's like I almost felt like an archaeologist doing that film because I was digging in all kind of archives. I was working with a lot of video material, like a lot of pictures, sounds, music.
Do me in the back.
Yeah. Are you working on a new project right now? Do you have something in mind for the future?
Yeah. I actually started thinking about making Orgy of the Dead Part 2. So we have the screenplay.
They'll all be in it with you, right?
The screenplay is already written, and the place, the action take place in the year 3000. So, no, I'm not joking. No, I'm joking, of course, that I'm doing a second part of that movie, but the script is really crazy.
Okay, your movie has the potential to bring a lot of publicity for Apostolof's family and for his name in general. So, do you think, what are your expectations after this movie is shown worldwide? Because you said that you're expecting to show it in the States, that it's going to be screened in Europe and in Bulgaria. Do you think that there will be a movie following your documentary? Because, like Ed Wood, the family was very disappointed that Ed Wood had more publicity than actually the real genius behind the camera. Like, that's about Orgy of the Dead, of course, but it was still, like, as you say, art. And do you think that this will maybe followed by a movie for Apostolof's character? Because this would be great.
Well, many people say that this story is good for a feature film, and I think we have many other stories that are not in the documentary, and they're quite bizarre and interesting, but we didn't include them because we didn't have that much time. So I'll be happy if this story inspired someone who would make a feature film. I would definitely be happy. And what was the
I'm just asking what your expectations are. Like, do you think that this is very possible to happen?
No, I'll tell you something that I didn't tell anyone until now. In fact, I did this documentary as a publicity stunt for Apostolov himself.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was working for so many years in the newspapers that I know all about the hype machine, and I just wanted to use it to make him famous, and I think kind of succeed in that. Yeah.
There is something pretty strange here, and I would like to ask you about what's that tendency? Melody and you shifted journalism with documentaries, and why is that?
I don't know, it's just another form of expression.
But you still practice?
Yes, I'm doing this now. What do you mean? Like?
No, like, do you like the journalism stuff? To have both your life together?
Yeah, I think I can do both things.
you guys hear all this discussion?
So, I just recently started a new job as a journalist because I didn't have time to do that while promoting the documentary, because the Bulgarian premiere was in March on Sofia Film Fest, and we were quite busy promoting the film, traveling with it in different festivals. So I now have time to work, like real work.
Last one.
I'm gonna jump to the emotional side again.
Okay.
It was
Let's do
mentioned
that.
a lot of time. Even his family mentioned that he wanted to be a part of mainstream, he wanted people to know him, and the fact that his legacy was not continued by his son, he was not taken out of Arizona, but you did make him mainstream again. You made him famous. Do you feel like you continued his legacy? Have you ever thought about, like, he's a religious person, he believed in faith, in God. Do you think you were actually like meant to take his legacy?
Well, I'm just happy I was very happy to be able to make that film, because it's a very strong story, and I can't say that I continue his legacy. I mean, I don't think so.
But you did fulfill his death wish.
Yeah, he's famous now. I wish he could see that.
Okay, that's the last one.
And I'm just wondering, like, you as a fellow Bulgarian, do you think that the movie, from a biased point of view, do you think you left some out of the movie which some American filmmaker have included? Like, do you think you presented him in a good way or in a bad way or both? Did you leave something out which would have harmed his image?
Do you think?
Do you think you did it from a biased way?
I think I did my best to make sure to present both good sides of him and the bad sides of him, and you can see that in the movie. I mean, I didn't hide. I mean, I'm telling the audience that he was a womanizer, and this is the reason for his first divorce. I mean, I'm not trying to hide any from the audience.
Was there any?
I don't think this make him necessarily a bad person, being a womanizer and stuff like that.
Just proud Bulgarian.
Could be.
Can you give some advice to these guys who are young filmmakers and anything that you could tell them to?
Like what?
I don't know. Tell them, not me. Some encouragement or advice to them to help them move forward in this business. Shouldn't they?
You mean in the movie business, in the documentary filmmaking?
What advice? What did you learn by making the last two films that you could share with them?
I think I learned that with a lot of hard work you can do almost everything. So I think this is.
How did you not give up?
Huh?
How did you not give up? You worked on this for many years. How do you not give up? Why?
Yeah, but I don't know. It's a story that that became part of me. Like I almost felt obliged to tell that story for the people to know about.
So find something you're really passionate about, and then don't give up.
Yeah.
Or you can't give up. You can't
That's right.
make it.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, if you have some questions, I could answer them.
Well, we're late. The cleaning ladies are trying to come in.
Maybe she has some questions.
What I'd like to do, Vlad.
One last point of fact. Did he or did he not have higher education? Because his third wife said that it was actually a fraud.
Yeah,
did he
I
go
think
to
this
Sorbonne?
is pretty obvious in the second part of the movie that he lied about it.
Okay.
And this is not the only thing that he lied about.
Oh.
Huh?
The Sorbonne.
Well, he was in Paris, but he wasn't in the Sorbonne. No. He was in the front of the Eiffel Tower.
On that note, what I'd like to do is we'll give him a round of applause, but then after that, let's come down and we'll take like a group picture with Jordan. Is that all right? Just come down here and everybody surround you. And we'll take a picture.
Like the group picture of Stephen Apostolof with his crew.
This program is brought to you by AUBGTalks. For more, please visit us at aubg.bg/talks.